Start. Who was the first victim?
Crespi was the first to die. He was famed once for his many glorious tournament victories. Then he grew old, hung up his sword, and took to winemaking.
Crespi was not loved by the wine merchants. He was ruthless in business and thought to cheat many a time. He asked us for a dispensation from all court ceremonies. We did not grant it. We could not. Once you've taken the oath of a knight, you remain a knight till death.
How'd he die? Where'd they find the body?
Quite unusual, the circumstance. He was at a feast when suddenly one of his fellow feastgoers noticed he was missing. The town watch found him an hour later. On his hands and knees, propped against the town pillory, his sword hanging from his neck. He had died of wounds inflicted with claws, not a weapon. Blows of great force.
So he died suddenly, but the body was on its knees, meaning someone posed it.
So it seems.
Second murder. Tell me what you know.
In the city there are certain nooks. No one reasonable ventures there after dark. Ramon Dulac's corpse was found in one such place. With the first murder, terror gripped the city. Its inhabitants grew wary, kept to safe areas. Consequently, news of the second victim came to us from a group of concerned cut-purses.
Criminals fear the beast? Telling in a way. Take it you've excluded the possibility that Ramon died at the hands of these bandits.
Do you believe me an amateur? Not hands, but claws killed Ramon Dulac. The wound was deep, clean.
His body was found in the gutter, dressed in nightshirt and cap, a pillow placed under his head, and his sword replaced by a bed warmer. Ramon Dulac, a knight who but a dozen years past was an advisor to our father, the Duke.
Someone went to a lot of trouble to make him look ridiculous. Maybe revenge was the motive.
It's not out of the question. Dulac had shady dealings with the criminal underworld, but no one ever came forth with concrete proof of any misdoings.
So, first two victims were knights, best years behind them.
The same could be said of the third. Sir Delacroix was wont to claim that in modern times knights face new challenges, enterprise being the latest addition to the chivalric virtues.
He made a veritable fortune in the grain trade. Palmerin even nicknamed him Sir de la Stinchi.
Found a coin pouch on his body. Contained florins dating from various times, hailing from different provinces of the Empire.
Delacroix loved coin, true, but had no patience for numismatics.
Lots of similarities between the victims. All the bodies were found in strange places under extraordinary circumstances. Seems the murderer, whoever or whatever it is, has some meaning to convey.
These were honorable men. We are horrified by the disdain, the disrespect with which they were treated. These were knights of Toussaint. Blast it.
Might be the point. From what you say, none was a model of virtue. Ever considered that's what the beast's trying to draw attention to?
All the murdered men were knights who swore fealty to the 5 chivalric virtues. And even if
Knights of Toussaint swear fealty to what virtues exactly?
honor, wisdom, generosity, valor, and compassion.
5 virtues. Why are they so important to your knights?
Strange question.
Your Grace, forgive me. I'm a foreigner trying to understand another land's customs.
You are forgiven. According to legend, the virtues we cultivate were bestowed upon us by the Lady of the Lake. How we truly came to espouse them, none remember. In Toussaint, we believe men of low birth should be simple-hearted and obedient. We expect much more, however, of our knights. They are to be soldiers and courtiers, lords and servants. Thus, the need for clear moral guidelines. At the time of his dubbing, a knight vows to demonstrate throughout his life honor, wisdom, generosity, valor, and compassion.
Beast seems to be pointing up moral decay, denouncing it. Victims were all humiliated. Might have been murdered to emphasize their lack of specific chivalric virtues.
Honor compromised by the pillory. Wisdom by ridicule. Generosity by a coin pouch shoved down a throat. It seems to fit, true, though not perfectly.
Can't discount the theory if it's on the lips of everyone in town. Say our reasoning's right. Next murder will be just as showy and denounce the victim's lack of the fourth virtue, valor. We can also assume that victim will be an elder knight.
Let's think. At the moment, all the knights are either at the tourney grounds or in the palace gardens. Our annual hare hunt shall begin there shortly. Have you heard of the custom?
Milton mentioned something. Seemed excited to prance around in a bunny costume. Not sure why. Hang on. Strange circumstances, a knight advanced in years, the famed cowardice of rabbits.
Could it be that simple? Is Milton de Peyrac Peyren the next victim?
Milton also knew Delacroix. Told me so down by the river.
Damien! To miss something so obvious. De Peyrac Peyren, Crespi, Delacroix, and Delac formed a knightly team. It was years ago, but
They were a team?
they were close friends, tightly knit, and as such earned the trust of our father, the Duke. We often witnessed him turn to them with delicate matters. Later, their paths diverged.
Unlikely to be a coincidence. Beast must know it too. It's a lead, I'm sure. Your Grace, we need to find Milton, immediately.
Rather problematic. You see, the garden entertainments are due to start, and he's disguised as the hare, hiding somewhere, waiting for some tipsy courtiers to find him. The hare's hiding place is a carefully guarded secret.
We must call off the game, at once.
First and foremost, we must remain calm. Damien, order the garden searched immediately, but discreetly. By no means can we disrupt the festivities. Panic will only incite the beast to strike sooner. And you, Witcher, follow me. My gardens, my night, I shall take the fall. A murder is out of the question. I will not allow it. Not near my palace. Horses? Ready our horses! Your Grace!
What the hell? Why, I should... Your Highness,
Mind it doesn't get wrinkled. Onward! Hey! That is silk! Be careful! Give it to me! On second thought, through here. I shall show you where the hunt plays out. Then we will split up. You will get hold of the unicorn horn and the golden fish, while I nab the phoenix egg. That will be quickest.
The unicorn. How do I catch it?
It's terribly skittish, true, but I'm sure you will find a way to earn its trust. It runs around over there, look.
Golden fish. Do I need a rod or a net?
Please, Geralt. It's not a real fish. Look there, towards the water. See the lights? The hunters are trying to hook the fish from boats. You must simply dive in and find it. The golden fish and the horn both contain things or clues that will help us find Milton. Once you have fish and horn, find me among the other phoenix egg hunters. All clear? Then let's get to it.
Perhaps an apple will work, or some sweets.
We would not be in this predicament, dear sister, were you still a virgin.
Do you really wish to have this conversation again? Here and now?
Hush, or you'll spook the beast. We shall try the sweets.
Hey folks, gonna have to ruin your fun. Sorry.
Who's that?
Easy now.
Well, that's hardly fair.
Flagrant cheating is what it is.
Sirs, we must teach this scamp some proper sportsmanship.
Hey, wait. Stop. It's important.
King Cormorant, sire, accept this offering we bring. Prithee cast upon us your merciful eye, and bear before us its secrets.
As the moon its heavenly course doth trace, in my domain I await that moment of grace, when a soul of good or ill repute brings me a gift, fitting tribute.
A key.
If you please, Your Grace.
We do not please. We act out of the highest necessity, or shall be explained later.
But it's against the rules.
I am the rules. Geralt! At last.
Got a key and a clue.
And I've another. Show me yours. Who wrote this drivel? I begin like a groan, hollowed out with ease, then end like a mouse, with a head of hard cheese.
Let's see. Grown. With ease gives us green, right? And mouse with a head of hard cheese. Greenhouse?
You're a genius. Several greenhouses in the gardens, indeed, but only one locks, the key to which looks just like the one we found.
Greenhouse it is then. Let's go. Wait here.
What the butch?
What was that?
I'm here.
This belonged to you, maybe?
It did, but you may keep it. I've a new one. I do not know you. I've done you no harm. Yet first you butchered a Bruxer who was dear to me. Now you pursue me. Why?
You've killed 4 innocent people, at least.
And you? How many innocents have you cut down?
Not here to talk about me.
Yet that is exactly what we are doing. So, did they send you after me? Who are they?
What do you mean, they? Duchess hired me. You've been murdering her subjects.
Is it as simple as that? I would ask you to convey to the Duchess that I've but one victim left, but you'll not get the chance. You were to stay where you were. Regenerate!
I know you're in trouble. I can help.
I'll help myself!
No, he's my friend.
Yes, Geralt, it's me.
Regis? You all right?
All is well. All's in order. Wounds such as these heal on vampires in moments. But we've not seen one another in ages, my friend. At least in human terms, that is.
How's this even possible? Last I saw you...
I was a bubbling, shapeless smear, having been rather spectacularly melted into a column of a certain castle. In somewhat better shape now, as you can see. Hardly peak form, mind you, but were I human, folk would think me a demigod, I dare say.
I'm sorry. What happened, it was my fault. Never got a chance to apologize.
No need, Geralt. Bygones. I did not have to join you on that expedition. No one twisted my arm.
Miraculous regeneration. How'd you manage it?
I had help. From the one you hunt.
Him? How? And what have you been doing all these years?
Not the time nor place for such stories. I suspect we'll get a chance to speak at ease and at length later. Now, however, we must deal with the reason that brought us both here.
Local serial killer seems to obey you. Maybe you could talk him out of it, convince him to stop murdering.
Why do you think I've come? It shall not be easy, as Dettlaff can be rather stubborn, though you must certainly recall that neither do I surrender readily.
So that's his name. He's your friend?
You might call it that. Though Dettlaff is... how would you humans put it? More bestial than I am. But not to worry. I'm working on him.
Haven't exactly done a great job with that. He's killed one night since I got here, at least 3 others before I arrived.
For good reason, I'm sure. Understand, Dettlaff is not some decadent shit who kills for sport, or to assuage a dryness of throat or a dullness of mood.
So in your opinion, what are his reasons?
Precisely what I wish to find out. And then I will convince him of the error of his ways.
Got a lot of faith in the guy.
Despite appearances to the contrary, you two are quite alike. You've both noble hearts, yet you both are wont to perform ignoble deeds. When circumstances force you to, of course. Remember the year 964?
That was 3 centuries ago.
Blind fear gripped Rivia, Lyria, and Spala. Women and children were dying. Their mutilated, dismembered corpses littered the fields.
Brute of Lyria. Read about it. Chewed up almost 200, then fell to a common poacher supposedly armed with a dagger blessed by some prophet.
It fell to Dettlaff, who then found a poacher asleep in the brush near his snares and dropped the fiend's corpse at his feet. And thus, a legend was born.
Awfully good of him. But do I need to know this?
Yes. So you'll understand Dettlaff is no cold-blooded killer. I believe he's landed in some mess and he sees no way out.
What makes you say that?
Vilgefortz melted my body. Dettlaff found what was left. As per our codex, he had a choice. To leave me where I was, or to care for me and nurture my remains. He chose the latter. Regenerated me at no small expense in his own blood. Do you know what that means to a vampire? The gravity of the endeavor?
Probably same thing it means to a human. You owe him your life.
Much more than that. The act itself made us blood brethren. A bond so strong humans cannot even imagine. Which is why I know something ill is afoot.
Always had an overdeveloped sense of empathy.
Each vampire has a unique talent. One they hone over centuries. It's precisely what renders us so difficult to classify. Dettlaff's trump card is his herd instinct. His tribal propensity. In point of fact, he prefers the company of lesser vampires and shuns that of humans. If he walks among you, killing egregiously, it can only mean something's upset him. Immensely.
Anything specific? Some set of things that'd be likely to set him off?
How should I say this? Dettlaff doesn't understand men, their world, its rules, its conventions. He's naive in a sense. He doesn't comprehend your games, knows not what it means to lie, deceive.
Suggesting he's maladjusted and venting his rage.
I'm suggesting maladjustment can at times breed conflict. But is it the case this time? I cannot say, but intend to find out.
Gotta find him before something upsets him even more, and all Beauclair is awash with blood.
Well, we share a cause then, just like the old days.
Not entirely. I mean, when I find him, you know.
I know you've a contract on his head. Yet your true task is to stop the beast killing, not necessarily to kill the beast, am I right?
All in all, sure.
Let us find him. By the time we do, I hope I'll have convinced you Dettlaff is no monster.
Fine, all right already. But for now, evidence is stacking up against him.
Hear that?
The posse. Knights must have tracked me here.
I prefer they not find me here. I've makeshift quarters at Mère Lachaise Long Cemetery. We'll meet there.
See you.
Witcher, we flew here as fast as our courses would carry us. Yet I fear we're late all the same. Pray, where is the beast?
Still investigating. About to inspect this site. Withdraw your men before they trample all over the evidence.
Sirs, we must let the Witcher do his work. Milton's murder cannot go unavenged.
Agreed to meet a vampire at a cemetery. How much more cliché can you get?
Nothing comes readily to mind.
Could have left the door unlatched.
What of my privacy? I value it rather deeply. Unmolested, especially by unwanted guests, that's my preferred state. Besides, I knew you'd find a way to get in.
True enough. Need to find your friend. I'm hoping you'll agree to help.
I shall do whatever's in my power. Yet what you want or even need must matter little. What matters is what Dettlaff wants. If he does not wish to be found, you will not find him. Ever. End of story.
Come on. Gotta be some way.
Vampires can evade detection by the senses, and no divination magic works on us. Even the most precise megascope would be useless.
And this? Could this help?
Wherever did you get that?
Off one of the beast's victims, found by a bend in the river. Body was chopped in pieces. 3 of those pieces were hands. Hand with the ring seemed the odd one out, but Bruxa had taken an interest in it.
It's Dettlaff's hand, without a doubt. It will do splendidly.
Can't you just summon Dettlaff? You're both hired vampires, there's gotta be a way.
If I'm to be entirely candid, there is indeed one. But believe me, we will be better off never availing ourselves of it. It is a last resort. Absolutely.
Last resort? The hell? Why?
There is a being who can summon Dettlaff. Possesses the authority, even the power, to force him to appear in a given place. But the very act of contacting this being, well, it's akin to walking a slack line extended over a chasm filled with molten lava. An exercise as perilous to me as it would be to you. A risk I'm unwilling to take. I beg you, let's do it my way. It will be both quicker and easier.
Ring's pretty intriguing. Made of no metal I've ever seen. And the ornamentation.
It comes from our home, where we lived before the conjunction of spheres. It's actually mine. I received it from a dear old friend. You might call him a humanist. He saw us vampires as guests here, guests who owe their hosts, meaning you humans and the elder races, respect.
Respect? Meaning not to treat us like cattle to be slaughtered for food?
Precisely. And the reason why I, in turn, gave it to Detlef. To remind him of the ideals my old friend championed.
The hand. What do you plan to do with it?
You've heard of Kovinaris' theory of tissue memory retention.
Rings a distant bell. Read about it in Alchemia Oblitera. There's a copy at Kaer Morhen, tattered, nearly disintegrated. But if memory serves, Kovinarius never managed to prove it worked.
He did prove it, just never managed to publish his findings. He and I corresponded, you see, after we became friends. Thus, I know he completed his research and performed the first tests. It's complicated, so without delving into details, it is possible to use any piece of tissue to reconstruct what a whole body experienced.
How's it work? We need any special equipment?
We must brew a decoction which Kovinaris gave a rather poetic name, resonance. Once imbibed, it sends one into a trance similar to that induced by narcotics. This triggers visions of events linked to strong emotions experienced by the tissue's owner. Picture it as dreaming a fragment of someone's life.
Any chance we might see what Detlef was doing just before he lost his hand?
Indeed. Though I also hope resonance will reveal the location of Detlef's hideout.
Kovinarius spent half his life proving his theory. Wild guess. Making a dose of resonance won't be easy.
You guessed correctly. In addition to Detlef's tissue, we shall need a powerful occipital lobe stimulant. Effectively a poison, to make one susceptible to visions.
Well, got a few ingredients to choose from. Unfortunately, all are pretty rare. There's Mamoon glands, but closest ones I know of are in Vizima. A spotted white saliva would also serve, but they were cold to extinction over a century ago. Could go with a kobold's eyes, but the creatures are sentient. Rather not gouge one's eyes out.
Given that we lack the time to sleuth this out ourselves, permit me to summon some help.
What was that?
A raven? Rather a common sight at this latitude. Very intelligent fowl. I asked him to look for the creatures you mentioned, him and his brethren. Perhaps they'll find one in the area, and I would hazard that a flock of ravens will spy any said creature faster than a solitary witcher would. With all due respect to your skills, my friend. It will take them some time, nonetheless, so perhaps you'd care for a snifter of mandrake.
Rarely say no to a snifter.
Sadly, this is but a weak infusion rather than a proper distillate.
Even better. I remember your mandrake hooch. Made people say things they'd have rather kept to themselves.
Now, what could Geralt of Rivia prefer to keep to himself?
So, think you've set a nice little trap for me? Sorry. Want to get me to confess? Gonna have to try harder.
I love a challenge. In that case, my ears are cocked. What must I do?
How about you get the ball rolling? Reveal one of your secrets. Vampires, intriguing creatures, must lead fascinating lives.
Anything in particular interest you?
Always fascinated me the way vampires can regenerate. A hand growing back is one thing, but Detlef recreating you out of a wet smear? Something else entirely.
A difficult and laborious process, but one that's possible. As my presence proves. But I've heard you too had quite the adventure. They say you lost your memory.
For a bit, but Triss helped me get it back. Actually, pretty damn lucky I only had amnesia.
Yes, you humans are rather buggered in those terms. To strip you of life is, well, it's just plain easy. I've always pitied you in that regard. We vampires are much harder nuts to crack. If a member of another race kills one of us, we can be reborn with a living higher vampire's help. However, if one of our own strikes the deadly blow, death is permanent. There can be no rebirth. One of the chief reasons why vampires long ago swore never to fight one another.
Got a new life, a new body. That give you a new start? Blank slate?
Starting all anew is a very broad concept. What exactly do you mean?
Your blood addiction, say. Wondering if your body's the same, if it still remembers. Maybe if you drank now, you wouldn't get hooked.
All addictions are a form of slavery. Re-addiction's not a risk I'm willing to take, just to test a hypothesis about corporeal regeneration and whether propensities carry over.
Fair enough. Curiosity, that's all. Sorry.
Not to worry, Geralt. Curiosity is a natural reaction under the circumstances, apart from which I've always valued that trait in you.
Gotta ask you the big question. One everyone wonders about. What happens after death?
You wish me to tell you if the human belief in the gods is well-founded? Well, that I do not know. We vampires differ exceedingly from you humans. Our matter, that of which we are composed, can exist without form. We require neither a heart, nor a brain, nor air to breathe.
But were you dead?
As humans understand death, yes.
Feel anything? Understand anything?
It's rather hard to explain. I felt something very unsettling. Something I cannot even name, for I did no reasoning. Only after rebirth did I begin to understand that what I had felt was cold and unimaginable fear. If not for Detlef, I might have drowned in an eternity of icy terror.
Can't have been alive then. Sheesh, experience like that must be vicious.
Indeed, it's hard to compare to anything I know. Yet you are aware we don't see death as you do. The way you cling to life, we find it entirely peculiar. You are mortals, ergo it's a foregone conclusion. You will die. It's but a question of time. Thus, I often find myself wondering why you try so very hard. To die at 20 years, 40, even 100, what's the difference? They're all but the blink of an eye.
Depends on your point of view. Man who's got 1,000,000 crowns to spend can't possibly understand one who's only got 20.
Very true. One's outlook can indeed change much.